Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. I'm your host Rob, and this video we're going to review the next episode of Almost Human. Okay guys, welcome back. So this episode was entitled Arrhythmia, and basically this had to do with Dorian ran into one of his counterparts, looks just like him, DRN model that had previously been decommissioned in the past, and then is presently recommissioned to work as like a janitor or something like that, something along those lines. And there's a case going on where people are suffering from heart attacks, and basically these people have had some sort of implant that sounds like it was remote controlled, and if they didn't pay a certain amount of money every so often, that basically it could be shut off and they could get killed or die of a heart attack. Now bear with me because while I saw the episode, I was also decorating my tree with my wife. We were very late this year, and so I did miss some. I don't think I missed any key parts. I did get most of the story. Now, a treat for me personally in this episode was Patrick Sabangi, who me and Damian Bravo from Universe G recently interviewed, who also is in the Godzilla 2014 movie, was in this episode. Did a little cameo there. I think he played one of the surgeons that witnessed one of the men having a heart attack. And he was actually being interrogated throughout the show. Not throughout the whole show, but throughout key points of the show when they were investigating who was behind the whole scheme with the heart transplant and things of that nature. So that was a treat to see him. Now, the thing of it is that basically this episode was okay. You know, it wasn't that great. You know, I did catch most of the beginning. Missed a little bit in the middle, and then I caught the end. And it was an okay episode. Compared to last week and the week before that, it was a little bit of a downer for me. I did like Dorian running into one of his own, because obviously it's kind of hard to believe that if Dorian was created as a collective android unit, he couldn't be the only one that was recommissioned out of the whole group. So it was kind of cool to see one of his own. And you know, they shared some moments because obviously that sort of android is developed in such a way that they can have sentiment, they can have compassion. It's almost like a simulated feeling, kind of like what Data had in Star Trek, but a little bit more controlled, where Data in Star Trek had some issues controlling it. But it was kind of cool to see them interact. There was a couple of funny moments with both Dorians and Kennex in the car. Kennex didn't want to have to deal with another Dorian, and it was well played by Michael Ealy, because obviously he's playing both roles, and while they're very similar, he made notable differences between the two characters so that the audience wouldn't be confused. So it was, you know, in that aspect, performance-wise, I thought Michael Ealy did a great job. Once again, we didn't see as much of Captain Sandra Maldonado as I would have liked. But again, you know, she seems to be having the just kind of the sit back kind of character. But I really, just because I like Lily Taylor, I would like to see her more involved. But again, I mean, the stars of the show are Dorian and Kennex. So, but in terms of the plot, you know, it was just okay for me. It wasn't great, considering we have to wait 3 weeks for another episode, because I guess they're kind of going into their little mid-season break. It was a little disappointing, but again, this is a first-time series. This is, you know, they had the pilot. Now, obviously, this is their 6th episode. So usually, for a show, in my opinion, usually the first 5 episodes are what make it or break it. And out of the first 6 episodes, I would say this is probably the only one I'm really somewhat disappointed with. But again, I think it was more story and character development for Dorian. I think that was more the focus, so much so than was the story. But, you know, it still was interesting nonetheless. I mean, to have a heart that's basically controlled by somebody else, or basically on a ticker, and, I mean, these people own you. I mean, unless you pay them, your life's on the line. So, you know, I can imagine if something like this were to really happen, you could see people robbing banks, people getting killed over money, these people would go crazy just to continue to make payments so they can have their, their life, their heart. And and I think the concept was interesting. Just maybe the delivery, and I think probably what would happen. What happened for me was, since Dorian was having a moment with another android, I think that could have been a story in and of itself rather than thrown in the middle of a big investigation. I think that kind of took away from the potential this story had, and then you could have just kind of made an episode focused on Dorian and his counterpart, or another android like him. So, but still overall, now that we're going into the break, I can honestly say that I really like the show. It's got nice. I don't mind comedy so much, and I think comedy can work in a serious environment so long as you don't do it while the serious things are going on. I've always liked Carl Urban as an actor. I first saw him in the Lord of the Rings series, so I'm sure he was around before that, but that's where he caught my eye. I think he did a lot of good acting there. I've seen him. Obviously, I liked him in Star Trek. A lot of people thought he was trying to be too much like McCoy, but personally, I felt he did an excellent job there, and I'm liking him in this show so far. And as far as Michael Ealy, I mean, again, he's a very recognizable face. He hasn't done too many huge things, but I knew him well enough to know who he was in the show, and I've seen him enough on screen in the past to know that he's always had the potential. I just don't think he's ever had the roles I felt personally that he deserved. Maybe he has a bad agent. I don't know what the case may be. But I'm glad to see them both on the show. I think they're feeding off of each other really good. I think having Lily Taylor as a veteran actress in the background is a good way to support the those two characters. And I think it's a solid show. When you have your first and this is my opinion, when you have your first 5 or 6 episodes in, and 5 out of the 6 are really good shows or really good episodes, I think that's a good start. Obviously the ratings don't speak that, but sci-fi is very hard to sell on TV sometimes. The Fringe is a perfect example. The Fringe was, in my opinion, a phenomenal show. Should have went more than 5 seasons, but unfortunately it didn't. But I still enjoy it. I have it on Blu-ray. I watch it all the time. Or not all the time, but I watch it as often as I can because I just like going back to that world. But overall, the episode was okay. I think it probably would have been better served separate from the story with Dorian and the other DRN model. But overall, it was still a good show. I still like to see Dorian, or rather, Carl Urban and Michael Ealy feed off of each other. And I'm looking forward to seeing the show again in 3 weeks. So that's basically it for this review, guys. Just kind of want to try and start cutting them short. But, for anyone who hasn't seen this show, you get an opportunity to go back and start watching it. It's really good. But outside of that, I'll see you guys for the next review of Almost Human in 3 weeks.